Good morning, everybody on YouTube. Good morning to all the Twitchers. Hey. Lutman is back. Spinoni's here. You're back. I'm here. I had a hell of a night. I didn't get to watch much of the Giants game last night, Shasky.
I was at Little League practice, and I missed some of it. I went back, and I obviously was fast-forwarding through it. And it's interesting. We put out a video yesterday on 95.7 The Game, and I basically came up with just some fun baseball questions for everybody here at the station. And yesterday's video was play catch or have a catch, because in Field of Dreams, they say have a catch. And then one of the other ones was, hey, who's your favorite?
Can I admit something?
What's that?
I've never watched Field of Dreams in its entirety.
I mean, that doesn't surprise me.
I feel like it's the Hoosiers of baseball movies.
You're not missing much.
Yeah, I feel like it's the Hoosiers of baseball movies, which is overrated.
Well, it tugs at the heartstrings.
I guess.
You know, it's him and his dad playing catch. Like,
yeah,
it tugs at the heartstrings.
Have a catch.
Moonlight
who
Graham
says that?
East Coast people, apparently, because that's what a lot of people told me. But I asked a variety of questions, okay? And so yesterday, as the kids are warming up at Little League practice, I walked around and I asked one of the questions. I said, all right, guys, who's your favorite baseball player? Now, this is 12-year-old baseball, okay, B? Mm-hmm. Who do you think that these guys said was their favorite baseball player almost unanimously?
Shohei Ohtani.
Nope.
Mike Trout.
Nope.
Julio Rodriguez.
Nope.
Ronald Acuna Jr.
Nope.
Trey Turner.
Nope. It's not even a current player.
Ken Griffey Jr.
Buster Posey.
Really?
And I guess where I'm going at with this
What's wrong with these? Where are these kids from?
They're all from the city.
All right.
Right? So I guess where I'm going with this is, you know, a lot of these kids grew up and Buster Posey was already an icon because they're 12 years old right now. And that's their favorite player. He's been retired for a full season now. You know, it's the first full year of him not being there. And seeing Sergio Romo get the ovation that he got as he's coming off the mound, it's Crawford, and that's it. And it really feels like a complete end of an era. I mean, it is a total changing of the guard, and we're finally here. And I got a little nostalgic last night. I'm not going to lie.
Well, that's why I wanted to hear some salsa music, because Sergio Romo, one of the more underrated Giants, is one of the more iconic relievers that we've had here in San Francisco, with the beard and the theatrics and the animation on the mound when he strikes somebody out. And everybody's going to point to his last strikeout of Miguel Cabrera in the 2012 World Series. Everybody's going to point to Game 5, that at-bat against Jay Bruce. And, of course, the save in Game 5 when the Giants rallied from an 0-2 deficit. Personally got to meet Romo a couple times. That was the beginning of my career or whatnot, working at the other station. I remember I did something for Bridge to Bridge, where I went around the clubhouse and I asked, you know, they have the Bridge to Bridge marathon here.
Yeah.
So I went around and I asked guys about Bridge to Bridge and what gets them going, what music. And Jake Peavy was like, oh, I need Tupac. And, you know, he was out of his mind. And, you know, I'm talking about steroids. Jake Peavy was just jacked out of his mind. So the last person I had to talk to was Sergio Romo. And I remember taking it away from that. I was like, that's one of my guys right there. It was a vibe. It felt like the character.
Yeah.
It made the locker room, it made the clubhouse colorful.
Wouldn't you agree that era of Giants, for as toned down as Posey, Bell, and Craw were, the rest of the guys were complete characters?
Yeah,
Pablo, Angel Pagan,
Hunter Pence,
Sergio Romo.
Even Hunter Strickland was a character.
Brian Wilson.
Even Hunter Strickland was a character.
100%.
Underrated character. Affelt was a character, too. Javi Lopez was nice.
Yeah.
He fit right in with that bullpen.
Santiago Casilla?
Yeah, no doubt. I remember.
Variety of names.
Angel Pagan.
Major flair.
I mean, major flair, major swagger.
Andres Torres,
he still's got the swag.
You know, but I look at Romo, B, for like, think about it. The guy had one pitch. He had one pitch, essentially. It was the no-dot slider. He made it all the way to the bigs. He's like 5'10", okay? Mm-hmm. He had the bulky knee for what felt like a decade.
Right.
And he was a guy who really was only the closer for like a year and a half for the San Francisco Giants out of necessity.
Yep.
He was a setup guy. He was like a seventh inning, sixth inning guy, became the setup guy, then became the closer, and then moved back into a lesser role. And like, he embodied everything it meant to be a Giant at that time.
No, he did. And I remember doing the Bridge to Bridge interview with him, and we were vibing. He was like, you know, I felt like I was me. You know, it didn't feel like an interview. We were just chopping it up, and he was giddy. And I remember walking away, young Bonte Hill, because I didn't know where this was going.
Was this like the second World Series?
No, this was 2014.
Approximately.
2014.
So they've got at least
2015.
They've got at least two titles.
They've got at least two titles. I think it could have been 2015.
He's on top of the world at this point.
Yeah, it could have been 2015. 2014 maybe.
Okay.
And I remember walking away and I could hear him say, man, that was dope, man. That was hella cool. And I was like, damn, that's dope. Like, man, Sergio Romo he enjoyed the interview or whatnot, but he was a 5.
Yeah.
Whenever you talk to him over the phone to set up interviews, he was always colorful and jacked up, and he felt like one of us. He embraced the culture of San Francisco. So, to see him get a standing ovation yesterday, and it wasn't much hype around him playing his last game, Babe Ruth series with the Oakland A's, and to see him come out there with his entire family, Hunter Pitts come out there and pull him.
Yeah.
He deserved that moment.
I agree.
Sergio Romo deserved that moment because he was an all-time Giant, and he embodied what a Giant is. Not the most talented.
Nope.
Didn't have all the 5 pitches.
He threw an 88-mile-an-hour fastball.
Exactly. And you think about that Jay Bruce at bat. That embodied torture.
Yes.
That was the definition of torture right there. That at bat, and it was course pitched by Sergio Romo. So it was good to see him get his flowers last night.
Well, and B, not only did he represent what it meant to be a Giant, I felt like, and I was talking to Joey about this, go back to like the history of San Francisco, right? This has always been an area where people come to either change their life or to look for a better version of their life or to enhance the area or whatever. And usually they take their culture or their ancestry, and when they come to San Francisco or the Bay Area, they want to meld it in to the pot that is the gumbo of the Bay Area. Think about him. I mean, his Mexican roots run deep, and he was very flamboyant about it, and I respected that. And it felt like when he came to the Bay Area and to the Giants, not only did he maintain who he was, he took on that Bay culture. And I was talking to Joey about it in the cross Jover. That's what's up. Remember when 40 Water came out with that song, and he would keep doing it. He would wear the city hats, and he would wear Warrior gear and wear 49er gear. He just felt like a guy who came to the Bay Area, made this place his home, chose to make this place his home, and truly set roots here. And it felt like the city loved him back simultaneously.
No, it did. And you look at his numbers there during that stretch: 2010, 218, 2.18 ERA; 2011, 1.50 ERA; 2012, 1.79 ERA; 2013, 2.54 ERA. Think about that 4-year run right there. All right, and then 2014, he gets back up to 3.72, then he drops back down to 2.98, and then 2.64. Those years with the Giants are special. So if I just look at those years, from 2008 to 2016, he finished, during that tenure, he gave up 39 home runs, 136 earned runs, which is pretty damn good. You look at the saves. He had 84 saves during that stretch, Shasky. And you look at the ERA here, as I scroll over, 2.58 ERA. During that 8-year stretch.
That's incredible.
That's pretty damn good for a guy who didn't have any velocity and had to trick pitch.
Yeah, well, trick pitch, I hear why people would say that, but to me, it was a devastating skill. Like, we were talking to Dave Fleming yesterday, and I was like, what's your defining skill? We do this in other sports, right? A shooter. Hey, that guy can shoot in the NBA. He's a great defender. He's a great athlete. He can get up and down the court, and he can jump over people. In football, speed. I'm a speed wide receiver. I'm a physical linebacker that separates guys from the ball. In baseball, we don't look at it that way, but I look at someone like Romo. His defining skill, I am keeping you off balance. This is the art of pitching. The art of pitching is not throwing 101 miles an hour over and over and over again, because guys will time that. The art of pitching is getting people to not know what location, at what height am I throwing that pitch, and at what speed. I mean, even when he struggled, you didn't see him get completely lit up because he always kept people off balance.
He did. And I see here on the Comcast Business text line, my favorite Romo moment, 510, was the Jay Bruce at bat. I feel like throwing up just reflected back at that moment.
Yeah.
I don't like watching that at bat back.
It's such a difficult at bat. I watched the other day. 12-pitch at bat.
Yeah,
Jay Bruce was all over him.
Dude, I watched that right before a class at SF State. I remember watching that game. And I was just exhausted afterwards because they went up 6-0 after the Buster Posey grand slam. And every inning after, the Reds put pressure on them. They put pressure on the base paths. They put pressure on the Giants pitching. And I was just like, dear God, just innocent. And I for sure thought that at bat was going to end with the 3-run bomb and a walk-off, and the Reds would advance to the NLCS.
I don't think you're alone on that one. The other thing that I kept thinking about yesterday, B, was the amount of people who had their best seasons with the Holy Trinity. And the Holy Trinity is Bochy, Righetti, Posey.
you know what? Give Mark Gardner
Oh,
some
no
love.
doubt.
Mark
I'm talking
Gardner,
about the top dogs, because Gardner and Dick Tidrow,
Right.
who
Dick
identified
Tidrow.
all of this
No
talent,
doubt.
deserves tons of
Gardner
credit.
deserves, and he
Sabian.
gave Gardy credit. You notice when
100%.
Romo posted his Instagram picture, teachers, Bochy, Rigetti,
Exactly.
Gardy, and that's Mark Gardner.
100%.
He doesn't get enough love.
No, I'm glad you said that. But like when I look at the great teams over the last 40 years, almost every one of them has some combination of pitching coach, manager, catcher. Think about the Cardinals for a second. You can't not think about Cardinals pitching and think about Yachty, right? Now, I know they've had a variety of managers, La Russa and Matheny.
Right.
Both are excellent when it comes to the bullpen, or at least, that's where they cut their teeth. Obviously, Matheny
Right.
was a catcher. Veritek up in Boston, Posada and Joe Torre, and then Buster, and obviously, Rigetti and Bruce Bochy. Like, I think I look at now the current landscape of the Giants. My biggest question, everyone's, they got so much pitching. What's their catching situation look like?
Catching situation
Well, what
looks-
about their head coach? Does their head coach know how to manage and massage the relationships between the catcher, the pitcher, and pitch sequence, and understanding the Rolodex of how to get someone out, not just on an Excel spreadsheet, but when they're actually digging into the box?
Well, that's another conversation for another day.